The Reality Code. Introduction. Since ancient times, whispers of a hidden power have echoed through the corridors of forgotten knowledge, a power so immense that those who understood it were revered as sages, feared as heretics, or silenced by those who sought control. This power is not found in temples nor written in sacred scripts meant for the masses. It is not a doctrine to be followed blindly, nor a dogma imposed by rulers. It is something far more profound, the mind's ability to shape reality itself. The greatest secret of existence has been concealed, not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear that those who grasped it would no longer bow to imposed structures. They feared that they would see beyond the illusion and claim the divine force that has always been theirs. Throughout history, this truth has been hidden beneath layers of symbols, encrypted in ancient texts, and veiled in allegory. The Gnostics spoke of it, the Hermeticists encoded it in the Emerald Tablet, and the alchemists disguised it as the transmutation of lead into gold, but all pointed to the same revelation. The world is not fixed, and reality is not separate from the mind that perceives it. What you see, what you touch, what you believe to be unchangeable, is nothing more than a projection, a shadow cast by something greater. The physical realm is but a fragment, a reflection of deeper dimensions woven by thought, belief, and consciousness. Science has only begun to scratch the surface of what the ancients already knew. The universe is mental, and the key to altering it lies within you. This is not a promise of miracles nor a superstition wrapped in mystery. It is a law, as real as gravity, as precise as mathematics. Those who have wielded it have left traces of their knowledge across time, some in books condemned by religious authorities, others in teachings erased from history. The question is not whether this power exists, but whether you are ready to see it. If you have found these words, it is not by chance. There is no coincidence, only synchronicity. Something within you already knows there is more to this world than what is taught, more than what is accepted as truth. The path is before you, but only those who dare to question reality will walk it. Are you ready to unlock the code? Chapter 1. The Universal Law of Faith. Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has been captivated by an unseen force, an invisible current that weaves through existence, shaping destinies, moving mountains, and bending the fabric of reality itself. Some have called it divine will, others destiny, but those initiated into the deeper mysteries have always known the truth. This force is an immutable law, as constant and precise as gravity itself. It is not mere belief, nor blind hope in the unknown. It is something far greater, a force that connects the seen with the unseen, the material with the infinite, the mind with creation itself. Faith has been misinterpreted, diluted, and distorted over the ages. The religious institutions of the medieval world turned it into submission, an expectation to believe without question, to obey without understanding. The rigid frameworks of science discarded it as mere superstition, a relic of human ignorance. But those who have ventured beyond these imposed limitations know the secret. Faith is not an empty promise, it is the mechanism of creation itself. Echoes of this knowledge can still be found in the ancient world's religious scriptures. The all is mind, the universe is mental, declared the Hermetic teachings. The Eastern sages whispered that reality is but a dream within the infinite awareness, a projection of thinking. Every mystic throughout history, including the Gnostics, Sufis, Kabbalists, and alchemists, came to the same conclusion. Faith is the cornerstone of the world, and the mind is its architect. Faith that is sincere is not passive. It's not just accepting your fate. It is an active force, an unwavering belief in something's existence before it has come to pass. It is the invisible thread that ties desire to manifestation, the energy that permeates everything. Transmutation, as understood by the ancient alchemists, was the transformation of reality via unwavering conviction and involved more than just turning lead into gold. Throughout history, those who wielded this knowledge were feared. The Templars were eradicated, not for their wealth, but for the power they held beyond the grasp of kings and popes. The Cathars were slaughtered for daring to claim that the physical world was an illusion, a veil over the true, boundless reality. The Sufi mystic Al-Hallaj was executed for uttering, "I am the truth," a declaration that the divine spark within man was not separate from the ultimate creative force of the cosmos. In the modern world, science has begun to uncover what the ancients already knew. Quantum physics suggests that the observer influences the observed, and that the fabric of existence is not fixed, but malleable, responsive to the mind that perceives it. The double-slit experiment revealed that particles behave differently depending on whether they are watched. If consciousness can affect matter at a quantum level, then faith is not just an idea, it is the key to shaping reality. The great thinkers of the past intuited this long before modern science could validate it. The Swiss psychologist Carl Jung called it synchronicity, the alignment of thought and external events beyond coincidence. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "The world is my representation," suggesting that what the mind holds as true is projected into reality. The power of faith is encoded in the very structure of creation. The ancients understood the vibration of words, the resonance of sound, the force of declaration. In Genesis, creation begins not with action, but with a command. Let there be light. The Gospel of Thomas, an apocryphal Gnostic text, records Jesus saying, "If you say to the mountain, 'Move,' and you believe it with all your heart, it will move." Mantras, sacred chants, mystical invocations, these are not mere poetic expressions, but acts of creation. The Kabbalists wrote that faith is the primal frequency that sustains the tree of life. The Vedic masters of India understood that the spoken word, when infused with absolute certainty, had the power to reshape existence. This knowledge has always existed, but it has been concealed, misunderstood, or feared. Those who truly grasp it hold the key to transformation, not just of their own lives, but of the reality around them. Faith is not a passive state. It is a force, a tool, a power. The ancients knew it, the mystics lived by it, and those who dare to wield it today will shape the future. The question is not whether this power is real. The question is, do you have the courage to use it? Chapter 2. The Hidden Structure of the Universe and the Power of Consciousness. Since the earliest whispers of human thought, those who sought true understanding have sensed that the universe is not a lifeless machine, not a cold and indifferent expanse of stars and matter, but something far more profound, a vast field of interconnected forces, pulsing with unseen intelligence. This idea has echoed through the sacred texts of forgotten civilizations, through the cryptic writings of Hermetic masters, and through the veiled words of mystics and prophets. And now, in the corridors of modern science, this ancient knowing begins to emerge once more. Reality is not fixed, not absolute, but shaped, molded by the power of consciousness. The belief that the universe is mental rather than purely material is not a new revelation. Thousands of years ago, the sages of Egypt, India, and Mesopotamia already understood that existence is not a collection of rigid laws, but a flowing, ever-shifting field of possibility. The Hermetic teachings proclaimed, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." In the sacred texts of the Kabbalah, it is written that the world was spoken into being, that existence itself is an emanation of thought, a vibration that cascades down from the infinite into the realm of the visible. The ancient Hindu scriptures tell us that what we perceive as solid and real is merely Maya, an illusion sustained by the mind of creation itself. If the universe is mental, then nothing we see is independent of the observer. Nothing is fixed beyond change. Reality is not a set of immovable laws. It is a canvas, a living field that bends to the influence of the mind that perceives it. This idea, once confined to the realms of mysticism, has begun to find its way into the language of science. The double-slit experiment in quantum physics revealed that matter behaves differently depending on whether it is observed. A particle is not simply a particle, it is a wave of infinite potential until consciousness interacts with it. The implications of this are staggering. If observation can alter the very behavior of the universe at a fundamental level, then the mind is not separate from reality. It is part of the mechanism that creates it. Carl Jung, the great explorer of the unconscious, suggested that reality is not merely a sequence of mechanical causes and effects, but a web of meaning. He called this principle synchronicity, the idea that events in the outer world are mysteriously intertwined with the inner workings of the mind. He warned that until man awakens to this truth, he will remain a prisoner of unseen forces, mistaking the patterns of his own consciousness for mere fate. The ancients knew this secret and guarded it with their lives. In the temples of Egypt, the high priests of Thoth understood that those who mastered the mind could shape the world itself. The sacred inscriptions of Luxor whispered the truth. As within, so without. As above, so below. The Essenes, an ancient sect said to be tied to Jesus himself, practiced the art of altering reality through the purity of thought and the sacred power of the spoken word. The hidden scrolls of the Dead Sea tell of those who could reshape their lives not through force, but through alignment with the unseen currents of the universe. The Gnostics, whose knowledge was hunted down and erased, spoke of a world that was not what it seemed. They believed that the visible universe was a false construct, a deception created by lesser forces to keep mankind in ignorance. In the forbidden Gospel of Judas it is written, "You will surpass this world, for the light is within you, and the power is in your hands." The medieval alchemists inherited this wisdom and concealed it in their cryptic metaphors. To those without knowledge, they appeared to be obsessed with turning lead into gold, but those who understood saw the deeper message. It was never about metal, but about transmutation of the self. Paracelsus, one of the greatest alchemists, wrote, "He who understands the true nature of the mind will never fear matter, for matter is nothing but crystallized thought." The truth that the mystics have always known is now being rediscovered. The universe is not a lifeless mechanism. It is a symphony of frequencies, a great field of energy waiting to be shaped by the force of consciousness. The ancient sages understood the power of vibration, the creative potential of the spoken word. The very first lines of Genesis proclaim, "And God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." The Tao Te Ching speaks of the power of the name, the spoken word, as the key to shaping form. Mantras in the Vedic traditions are not merely words. They are precise frequencies that alter both perception and reality itself. If words are the weight of creation, and the mind is the architect of the cosmos, then faith is the spark that starts the manifestation process. The ancients were aware of this. The mystics put it into practice. Scientists are starting to notice. Reality is a living, breathing field of possibilities that is open to being shaped by intention and thought. It is not a machine. The question still stands. Will you keep living your life as a passive observer, accepting a reality that has been forced upon you? Or are you going to awaken, lift the curtain, and take possession of the power that has always been inside of you? It has broken the illusion. You make the choice. Chapter 3. The Soul and the Illusion of Matter. Since the beginning of time, humanity has been haunted by a single burning question. What are we? Are we mere bodies that house a soul, or are we eternal beings momentarily clothed in flesh? Philosophers, mystics, and seekers of truth have wrestled with this mystery, yet those who have walked the path of wisdom have always arrived at the same revelation. Matter is an illusion, a fleeting shadow cast by the eternal light of consciousness. The world appears solid, unchangeable, and absolute. But what if it is nothing more than a mirage, a dream woven by the mind of the cosmos? In the ancient Vedic traditions, this illusion was called Maya, the grand deception that convinces us that what we see, touch, and measure is real. The sages of the Upanishads warned that reality is like a man lost in sleep, mistaking the images of his dream for truth. The Buddhist masters echoed this teaching, speaking of shunyata, the great emptiness that underlies all things, reminding us that what seems solid is, in fact, only a construct of perception. The Gnostics understood this deception. To them, the material world was not only an illusion but a prison, a trap designed to keep the soul bound in ignorance. In the hidden texts of the Nag Hammadi scriptures, it is written that humanity wanders through life in a state of forgetfulness, asleep to its true nature. The Gospel of Philip warns that the world itself is a trick, a veil pulled over our eyes by unseen forces, preventing us from remembering where we come from. The Gospel of Judas, long buried and condemned, whispers an even deeper secret, that Jesus did not come to be worshipped, but to awaken souls from the dream of flesh and time. The alchemists of the Middle Ages understood this secret, encoding it within the great work of transmutation. To the uninitiated, they sought to transform lead into gold. But the true alchemists knew the real gold was within, the luminous essence buried beneath the heavy weight of material existence. Paracelsus, one of the great masters of the craft, wrote that the true philosopher's stone was not a chemical process, but the awakening of divine consciousness within man. The Egyptian Book of the Dead spoke of the same journey, instructing the soul to shed its earthly bindings, to rise beyond the body and reclaim its place among the stars. Modern science, in its relentless pursuit of truth, has stumbled upon the same realization that mystics and sages have known for millennia. Quantum physics has dismantled the illusion of solidity, revealing that what we call matter is nothing more than energy, vibrating at different frequencies. The famous double-slit experiment shattered the boundaries between mind and reality, proving that the act of observation changes the very behavior of particles. If reality itself shifts according to perception, then what is real? Is the world around us an objective truth, or merely a projection of the mind that perceives it? The pioneers of thought sensed this before science could explain it. Max Planck, of the aether of quantum mechanics, declared that all matter originates from an invisible force, a conscious intelligence that gives form to the formless. Carl Jung spoke of synchronicity, the uncanny way in which the external world mirrors the internal mind, revealing that reality is not separate from the soul that experiences it. Schopenhauer wrote that the world is my representation, that what we believe with certainty is etched into the fabric of existence itself. If the world is mind and matter is but a fleeting image upon its surface, then the body is not the essence of who we are. It is merely a vessel, a temporary garment the soul wears for a time before discarding it and moving beyond. The Taoist masters likened the body to dust upon the wind, insignificant and fleeting, while the spirit is the breath that moves it. The ancient Zoroastrians saw flesh as nothing more than a cloak, a disguise worn by the eternal self before it returns home. The Rosicrucians taught that man possesses multiple bodies, layers of existence beyond the physical, with only the densest one visible to the eye. All throughout history, those who have understood this secret have sought to escape the illusion. The mystics have dissolved their ties to the material world, stepping beyond the dream to touch a greater reality. The alchemists, in their cryptic symbols and veiled writings, have left instructions for the transmutation of consciousness. The Gnostics have fought to preserve their wisdom, though time and power have sought to erase them from history. If the universe is mind, and matter is but a shifting illusion, then what we call reality is not fixed. It is shaped by thought, molded by belief, altered by consciousness. This knowledge has been hidden, feared, and suppressed for one reason: because it grants freedom, because it breaks the chains of control, because it turns man from a passive observer into a creator of his own destiny. The final step is to awaken, to see through the veil, to reclaim the power that has always been yours. Say to yourself, I awaken from the dream of matter, and the light will reveal the path ahead. Chapter 4. The Art of Conscious Manifestation and the Power of Intention. Reality is not set in stone. It is not dictated by the whims of external forces, nor written by distant gods. It is shaped, molded, and brought into being by the very force that resides within you, your mind. The ancients knew this. The mystics lived by it. The seekers who walked the hidden path understood that the universe is not a collection of fixed events, but a field of endless possibilities, waiting to crystallize under the force of focused intention. One reality has been expressed by the great thinkers of history from the dawn of civilization to the secret societies of the Middle Ages. Emotions are not transient, and thoughts are not passive. They are the creators of reality. They are vibrations that transcend the individual and leave their mark on the world. A hidden truth is whispered in the Gospel of Thomas, one of the lost teachings of early Christianity. What is within you, if you bring it forth, will save you. It will ruin you if you don't. In the Vedic texts, Indian sages repeated this lesson by saying that you are your deepest desire. Your will is as strong as your desire. Your fate is determined by your will. If the mind is the source of creation, then the key to transformation lies in mastering thought and emotion. The Hermetic masters inscribed this law in their sacred texts, declaring, "Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates." This is the law of vibration, the unseen force that binds all things. Every atom, every sound, every idea pulses with energy. The mystics of Kabbalah taught that reality was spoken into being, that existence itself is the echo of a primordial vibration, a ripple of divine will cascading through the void. The words we speak, the thoughts we repeat, the beliefs we hold, these are not empty echoes but forces that shape the very structure of the world. Throughout history, those who understood this power concealed it beneath symbols and allegories. The medieval alchemists spoke of transmuting lead into gold, yet their true pursuit was far greater. The transformation they sought was not of metals, but of consciousness. The Rosicrucians, the Sufi mystics, the hidden sects of every age, all guarded the same revelation. The external world bends to the internal one. Even now, as science progresses, the echoes of ancient wisdom are beginning to be heard once more. Quantum physics has revealed that matter is not as solid as once believed, that particles behave differently when observed, suggesting that consciousness itself plays a role in shaping reality. The groundbreaking experiments of Dr. Masaru Emoto demonstrated that thoughts and emotions could alter the molecular structure of water. If intention can reshape something as fundamental as water, what effect might it have on the events of our lives? Carl Jung, the great pioneer of the human psyche, spoke of synchronicity, the unseen threads that link the external world with the mind's internal landscape. He argued that the universe does not function through meaningless chance, but through patterns of meaning. The events that unfold around us are not random, but are reflections of what we hold within. To those who understand this, fate is no longer a blind force, it is a mirror. The guardians of this knowledge have always been silenced, feared, or erased from history. The Templars, accused of heresy, were not merely warriors, but initiates of a greater wisdom. The Sufi poet and mystic Al-Hallaj was executed for proclaiming that man could merge with the divine and manifest his own reality. His last words before his death were not of despair, but of absolute certainty. Faith is not hope. Faith is knowing. And he who knows, creates. True faith is not a passive state. It is not the hopeful wishing for something to come. It is the unshakable certainty that it already exists in the unseen, waiting to materialize in the visible. The great occultist Louis-Claude de Saint-Martin once wrote, "Reality does not impose itself upon man. Man imposes himself upon reality." The world is not something to be endured. It is something to be shaped. This knowledge has been hidden, not because it is untrue, but because it is powerful. It shatters the illusion of limitation. It dissolves the chains of dependency. It frees the human being from the false belief that he is a victim of fate, and instead reveals him as the architect of his own existence. The next step is to understand the connection between the conscious and the subconscious mind, and how emotions serve as the fuel for creation. There are no miracles, only laws yet to be fully understood. Those who grasp this truth will no longer wait for change, they will create it. Chapter 5. The Subconscious Mind and the Hidden Architecture of Reality. Reality is not what it seems. The events that unfold in life, the patterns that shape destiny, the circumstances that appear beyond our control, none of these are dictated by external forces alone. The true architect of existence is not the rational mind, nor fate, nor the will of unseen gods. It is something far deeper, something hidden beneath the surface of awareness. The subconscious mind is the silent creator of reality, the unseen force that molds life according to the beliefs it holds. The ancients understood this truth long before modern science began to unravel its mysteries. The mystics of Egypt, the esoteric sects of Gnosticism, and the guardians of sacred knowledge in the East all spoke of the hidden mind, the place where reality is first shaped before it takes form in the physical world. The Gospel of Philip, one of the lost scriptures of early Christianity, warned of this very principle. He who does not know his own shadow is condemned to live within it. The Sufi poet Rumi wrote, "You were born with wings, but you have been taught to crawl." These words were not mere poetry. They were messages encoded with a profound secret. The world you see is nothing more than a reflection of the world within. Psychologists today confirm what the ancient masters knew. 95% of human thought, emotion, and action is controlled not by conscious choice, but by subconscious programming. The decisions you believe you are making freely have, in truth, been shaped by unseen forces, beliefs planted in the depths of your mind long before you had the ability to question them. From childhood, society imprints ideas upon the subconscious, training the mind to accept limitation, fear, and servitude to external systems. The Templars, one of history's most enigmatic brotherhoods, wrote in their hidden manuscripts that true oppression is not physical, but mental, the imposition of false beliefs that man unknowingly accepts as his own. The greatest prison is not one of walls and chains, but of the mind itself. Esoteric traditions have long represented the subconscious in symbolic form. The alchemists called it the black dragon, the chaotic force that must be tamed before true transformation can occur. The Kabbalists described it as Yesod, the foundation of perception, the filter between thought and material reality. In the Hermetic tradition, it was referred to as the hidden sphere, the place where thoughts are planted like seeds before they grow into tangible experiences. Hermes Trismegistus, the legendary figure of ancient wisdom, wrote, "The universe is mental, but the mind of man is asleep. He who awakens his hidden mind awakens his divinity." This knowledge was guarded not to deceive, but because it granted immense power, the power to shape one's own fate. If reality is a mirror of the subconscious, then those who wish to change their lives must begin at the source. Every thought, every belief, every image impressed upon the deep mind will find its way into the external world. Those who sow scarcity in their inner world will see it manifest in their lives. Those who cultivate abundance in the depths of their mind will inevitably encounter it in reality. The Rosicrucians, guardians of ancient wisdom, understood this principle and encoded it in their secret teachings. The world is not imposed upon man, man imposes himself upon the world. The most well-kept secret of mystical traditions is the power of imagination. What one can see clearly within the mind, one will eventually see in the world. The great conquerors of history understood this instinctively. Napoleon Bonaparte, who was deeply influenced by esoteric teachings, declared, "Imagination rules the world." The Sufi mystics practiced visualization to attune their consciousness to the divine. The Rosicrucians taught that imagination is not fantasy, it is the tool of creation itself. The Babaji texts of Hindu mysticism proclaimed, "Man is made of his faith. What he believes, that he becomes." Modern science has only recently begun to uncover what mystics have known for centuries. The field of neuroplasticity has demonstrated that the brain is not a fixed structure, but can be rewired through repetition and focused thought. Studies have shown that the subconscious cannot distinguish between a real experience and one vividly imagined. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a pioneer in the study of the subconscious mind, revealed that the body does not wait for reality to change before it reacts. It reacts to the mind's expectation of reality. If the body responds as though imagined experiences were real, then the mind has the power to reshape the world before it even manifests. Ancient orders developed precise methods for reprogramming the subconscious to align with conscious intent. The first method was the repetition of powerful affirmations, spoken in states of deep relaxation when the mind was most receptive. The second was creative visualization. in which the individual not only imagined the desired reality, but felt it as though it had already occurred. The third was meditation and autosuggestion, a process of quieting the conscious mind to directly impress the subconscious with new patterns. The fourth was the use of rituals of internal transmutation, symbolic acts meant to purge old beliefs and replace them with new realities. The fifth was the rejection of limiting influences, avoiding exposure to ideas that reinforced scarcity, fear, and doubt. The subconscious is the true master of creation, the silent force that determines what is drawn into existence. Those who understand this principle do not leave their lives to chance. They do not accept the limitations imposed upon them. They do not wait for fate to act upon them. They take command of the unseen forces within, knowing that by mastering the subconscious, they master the universe itself. The next step in this journey is understanding how energy and vibration influence manifestation and how human consciousness can align itself with abundance and fulfillment. There are no miracles, only laws of reality that remain undiscovered. He who dominates his mind dominates his destiny. Chapter 6. Energy, Vibration, and the Secret of Universal Frequency. Everything in existence moves. What appears solid is not truly solid. Matter is not an unchanging substance, but energy in motion, vibrating at frequencies beyond the limits of human perception. Since the dawn of time, sages, mystics, and seekers of wisdom have spoken of this hidden truth. The universe is not a machine of fixed laws, nor a collection of lifeless particles drifting in empty space. It is a vast symphony of frequency, an ocean of vibration where everything is interconnected. This knowledge is not new. The ancient texts of the East, the sacred traditions of the Middle East, and the esoteric teachings of the Western mystery schools all point to the same reality. The universe is not a static place, but a field of infinite energy, constantly shifting and responding to the forces within it. The Hermetic Masters recorded in the Kybalion, "Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates." In the Vedic scriptures, the primordial sound Om was said to be the vibrational force that gave birth to all existence. The Kabbalists taught that the cosmos was spoken into being through the divine word, a frequency so powerful that it shaped reality itself. Those who understood this secret knew that vibration was not merely a property of matter, it was the foundation of reality itself. The universe does not operate on randomness. It is governed by the law of resonance. Energy attracts energy of a similar frequency. Just as a tuning fork will cause another of the same pitch to vibrate, the human mind, emotions, and spirit emit frequencies that draw experiences, people, and opportunities into alignment. Like attracts like. This is not mere philosophy. It is a fundamental law of existence. Those who vibrate at frequencies of fear, scarcity, and limitation will encounter struggle, while those who raise their frequency through thoughts of abundance, love, and certainty will shape a reality of prosperity. Mystics and alchemists sought to harness this power through their spiritual practices. The great philosopher Pythagoras discovered that sound itself had the power to alter consciousness. He taught that the universe was built upon mathematical harmonies, a grand celestial music that dictated the patterns of creation. The priests of ancient Egypt used sacred chants to realign the energy of the body and mind. The Sufi dervishes, through their whirling dances and prayers, elevated their vibration to commune with higher realms. In every tradition, the message was the same: those who master their vibration master reality. What the ancients previously knew is just now starting to be reflected in science. Matter is a dance of energy in perpetual motion, as quantum physics has shown. According to the well-known double-slit experiment, particles exhibit distinct behaviors according on whether they are being watched, indicating that awareness itself has an impact on the physical world. Dr. Masaru Emoto demonstrated through his studies on water that human ideas and emotions had a direct effect on molecular structure. Words of gratitude and love created complex, beautiful crystalline patterns, whereas words of fear and hatred caused chaotic distortions. If the human body is made up of more than 70% water and human emotion has the ability to shape water, What does this indicate about the power of vibration in influencing our reality, fate, and health? The human body is not just flesh and bone. It is an energetic field, resonating at frequencies that interact with the universe. In Hindu tradition, the chakras are seen as energy centers that regulate spiritual and physical well-being. In the Sufi tradition, the concept of baraka describes the divine vibration that can be cultivated through devotion and meditation. The Rosicrucians, among the hidden brotherhoods of the West, taught that every thought, every word, and every breath carried a unique frequency that could be tuned like an instrument. The great alchemist Paracelsus declared, "He who controls his vibration controls his destiny." Those who seek to harness this law must learn to align their energy with the reality they wish to create. Raising one's vibration is not an abstract idea. It is an art, a science, and a practice. The first key is thought. Negative thinking lowers vibration, while states of gratitude, love, and certainty elevate it. The second key is sound and frequency. Certain tones, mantras, and harmonic music can recalibrate energy. The third key is movement and breath. Dance, deep breathing, and physical alignment unlock energy trapped within the body. The fourth key is environment and relationships. The energy one surrounds oneself with directly influences one's vibrational state. The final key is the spoken word. What is declared with unwavering conviction takes form in reality. The universe does not reward struggle. It responds to frequency. It does not grant abundance to those who beg for it, but to those who align with it. Those who raise their vibration beyond fear, scarcity, and doubt will step into a higher state of being, a state where manifestation is effortless, abundance is natural, and the universe moves in harmony with intention. The great sages of the past understood that vibration was the key to shaping reality. Now, science is beginning to confirm what they have long known. The next step is not simply to understand this principle, but to apply it, to become the conscious conductor of your own frequency, and in doing so, shape the reality that is waiting to emerge. Chapter 7. Emotional Energy and its Power in Manifestation. Emotion is the hidden force behind creation, the invisible current that shapes reality with greater power than thought alone. Since the dawn of time, those initiated into the mysteries of existence have understood that it is not enough to visualize a desire or set an intention. The key lies in the intensity of the emotion that accompanies it. Emotion is the bridge between the conscious mind and the unseen forces that govern the universe, the frequency that imprints itself upon the very fabric of reality. Modern science is only beginning to validate what the mystics and alchemists have always known. Quantum physics suggests that reality is not separate from the observer, and that consciousness interacts with the field of possibility in ways we do not yet fully understand. But the great secret, whispered through centuries of esoteric teachings, is that it is not thought alone that influences reality. It is the energy with which that thought is held. The Rosicrucians encoded this principle in their teachings. Thought is the seed, but emotion is the water that makes it grow. The Gnostics understood that humanity remained trapped in illusion because it had not yet awakened to the creative power of emotion. In the Gospel of Philip, it is written, "What you feel with all your being will become your destiny." This was not mere poetry, but an acknowledgement of an eternal law. What is emotionally sustained in the heart and mind is not just a passing state. It is a vibrational command sent to the universe. The alchemists represented this principle through fire, the element that transforms base metals into gold. Paracelsus, one of history's greatest mystical healers, declared, "The fire of burning desire is what gives shape to the philosopher's stone." Throughout history, sages and spiritual masters have spoken of the vibrational nature of emotion. The Jewish Kabbalists described joy as the dwelling place of the divine, while the Sufi mystics, through ecstatic dance and poetry, sought to reach elevated states of consciousness where the soul could merge with the infinite. The great poet Rumi wrote, "That which you seek is seeking you, but it will not find you until your heart calls for it with enough intensity." Every emotion carries a specific frequency. Science has begun to measure these vibrations, revealing that emotions such as love, gratitude, and joy emit harmonious, expansive waves, while fear, guilt, and despair generate dense, chaotic frequencies. The researcher David R. Hawkins developed a vibrational scale of emotions, demonstrating that the highest states, peace, enlightenment, and unconditional love, had the most profound impact on both personal reality and the collective field of existence. The Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalistic mysticism, states, "He who dwells in joy dwells in the presence of the divine. He who dwells in sorrow walks in the shadow of death." The Rosicrucians carried this understanding forward, teaching, "Feel as if it is already real, and so it shall be." Long regarded in traditional traditions as the soul's seat, the heart is now being acknowledged by science as a potent hub of energy. The heart's electromagnetic field is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain's. This indicates that emotions' vibrational energy influences manifestation far more than just reason. According to research from the HeartMath Institute, when someone creates feelings of love or appreciation, their energetic field enlarges and aligns with their environment, creating synchronicity, chance encounters, and what some refer to as miracles. A heart at peace is a mirror of the universe, according to the Tao Te Ching. It makes what it reflects real. To truly harness the power of manifestation, one must not merely think their desires into existence, but feel them with such certainty and intensity that they become undeniable. The subconscious, which governs most of human behavior, does not respond to logic. It responds to emotion. This is why visualization alone is ineffective unless accompanied by a deep, visceral belief that the outcome is already unfolding. The key is to enter a state where gratitude, love, and certainty replace doubt and hesitation. Esoteric traditions have preserved techniques for transforming emotional energy into a creative force. The first is the use of gratitude, an emotion so powerful that it signals to the universe that what is desired is already reality, thereby accelerating its manifestation. The second is the practice of emotional transmutation. Rather than suppressing lower emotions like fear or anger, they can be transformed into passion, determination, and personal power. The alchemists never denied the existence of dense emotions. Instead, they used them as fuel for transformation. The third is coherence between the heart and mind. Deep breathing, meditation, and consciously generating elevated emotions create a powerful energetic field that aligns one's reality with their highest desires. The missing element in the creation process is emotion. Weak goals and meaningless thoughts do not elicit a response from the cosmos. It reacts to the intense, constant energy of emotion. The great sages of history have understood that mastering one's inner condition, rather than controlling the outside environment, is the real key to influencing one's fate. The secret to turning one's life into a work of conscious art is in the ability to produce strong emotional frequencies on demand. The next step is to investigate the hidden rules of causation and karma, which are forces that affect manifestation in ways that most people are still unaware of. One must first liberate oneself from the invisible bonds that confine them to cycles of limitation in order to create freely. Your thoughts have no effect on the universe. It reacts to your emotions with complete certainty. Chapter 8. Karma and the Hidden Law of Causality in Manifestation. There is no chaos in the universe, no accidents, no random strokes of luck or misfortune. Every effect has a cause, every reality a hidden origin. What many call fate is not an external force dictating life's events, but the reflection of unseen laws in motion. From the ancient temples of Egypt to the esoteric brotherhoods of the West, from the mystics of the East to the secret doctrines of the Templars, all have whispered the same truth. The universe is a mirror, and what one sends out is precisely what one receives in return. Some souls seem destined for greatness, effortlessly drawing fortune and harmony into their lives, while others appear trapped in an endless cycle of struggle and despair. The unawakened believe this is chance, luck, or divine favor, but the great initiates have always known otherwise. Reality is a perfect echo of what one projects from within. The Hermetic Masters inscribed this in their sacred teachings, declaring, "All things are bound together by law. There is no such thing as chance." The sages of the East called it karma, the immutable law of cause and effect. The Rosicrucians spoke of vibrational retribution, the idea that every thought, action, and intention sends out a frequency that returns in kind. The Gnostics understood it as the soul's cycle of learning, a path that repeats until true understanding is achieved. The ancient Egyptians depicted cosmic justice in the form of Ma'at, the goddess whose scales weighed the hearts of the departed. This was not punishment, but the natural order reflecting back the vibration that had been sustained in life. The Book of the Dead proclaims, "He who sows in darkness shall reap in darkness. He who sows in light shall be carried by the light." The Cathars, persecuted for their esoteric wisdom, held that each incarnation was an opportunity to transmute past burdens and elevate the soul to its original divine state. Their hidden texts revealed that the soul, bound by the patterns it creates, must break the wheel of suffering through conscious awareness of the law. The Gnostics taught that the material world is a school, a reflection of what has been sent forth. Each experience, whether joyous or painful, is not a punishment, but a lesson, an echo of energy once released. The Gospel of Thomas states, "What you give to the world will return to you. If you recognize this, you will no longer be trapped by it." The Rosicrucians, guardians of hidden knowledge, saw karma not as a sentence, but as an opportunity. They believed that every situation faced in life is a key, either unlocking the next level of understanding or repeating the lesson until it is learned. In their sacred texts, it is written, "The door remains closed until the lesson is embraced. When it is understood, the door opens and reality shifts." The initiates of the Templar order knew that karma could be dissolved, not through blind repentance, but through inner transmutation. The soul was never meant to be bound by the weight of its past indefinitely. The key to liberation lay in raising one's frequency, purifying the mind and acting with wisdom. It was not about redemption in the religious sense, but about aligning with higher consciousness. The ancient Vedantic texts describe this as samskara, the residue of past experiences embedded in the mind and spirit. These impressions, whether from past lives or early conditioning, shape belief, perception, and reality. The Bhagavad Gita echoes this truth. The soul is its own judge. What is sown will be reaped. There are no gods of punishment, only the perfection of the law. The alchemists used the Ouroboros emblem, which depicts a serpent consuming its own tail and the cycle of creation and destruction repeating itself, to symbolize this idea. They were aware that the Ouroboros might be broken nevertheless. Those who recognized the hidden cause of their reality and changed it from within were able to transcend the cycle. According to Paracelsus, he who understands the law ceases to be a slave of destiny and becomes its master. Karma, according to Sufi mystics, is a compass that points the soul in the direction of awakening rather than a curse. After being put to death for his divine insights, Al-Hallaj left behind some extremely wise words. "There is no punishment, only an echo. You receive back what you put out into the cosmos." The Rosicrucians developed this concept further by stating that karma is changeable and that its energy can be altered by altering the cause that gave rise to it. The real path of transmutation involves changing one's inner vibration to make new outcomes unavoidable, rather than merely hoping for a different destiny. Ancient knowledge is now being uncovered by modern science. According to quantum physics, reality is a field of probabilities that reacts to observation rather than being fixed. If karma is the outcome of energy released, then changing the frequency at which one engages with the outside world is the key to dissolving it. The Gnostics believed that expanding one's consciousness was the quickest method to change reality. The ability to stop recurring patterns is given to the one who is aware of them. The ability to alter one's experience is acquired by the person who recognizes its underlying reason. The intricacies of multidimensional consciousness and how existence transcends linear time will be revealed in the upcoming chapter. One must first liberate oneself from the imperceptible bonds of prior conditioning in order to manifest without boundaries. He who awakens to the law awakens to his own strength. There is no predetermined fate. Chapter 9. Multidimensional Consciousness and the Power of the Eternal Self. Time is an illusion, a construct of the mind designed to sustain the perception of separation, yet in the deepest truth, all exists within a single eternal moment. The past, the present, and the future are not separate. They are different expressions of the same infinite reality, unfolding all at once. The greatest secret of existence has been whispered through the teachings of ancient mystics, inscribed in the hidden texts of lost civilizations, and now even glimpsed through the lens of modern quantum physics. Reality is not linear, and the soul is not bound to a single timeline. The Sufi masters taught that the only real moment is the eternal now, a state beyond the constraints of human perception. The Kabbalists spoke of multiple layers of existence, interwoven like the branches of the tree of life. The Gnostics, whose wisdom was suppressed and erased from history, declared that the soul does not merely live one life, nor is it confined to one singular experience. It exists across multiple dimensions at once. In the Lost Gospel of Thomas, it is written, "When the blind one sees, the world he knew will vanish, and he will remember that he has always been one with the light." This knowledge, hidden for centuries, reveals a truth that has the power to shatter every illusion of limitation. The human being is not a prisoner of fate. He is not bound to a single destiny. His consciousness, when awakened, has the ability to move between realities, to shift timelines, and to align with the highest version of himself. The Templars, in their secret manuscripts, described immortality not as a preservation of the body, but as the expansion of consciousness beyond the confines of time. The Rosicrucians taught that the present self is merely one of many manifestations of the soul, and that true liberation comes when one learns to communicate with the higher self, the eternal, all-knowing aspect of being. Time is nothing more than a shadow cast by the mind. When you awaken, you will realize that you already are what you seek. The esoteric traditions of the past spoke of the higher self, the divine spark that transcends the illusion of limitation. The Vedic sages called it Atman, the unchanging essence that exists beyond all lifetimes. The mystics of early Christianity referred to it as the Christ within, the eternal consciousness that resides in all beings. The Hermeticists saw it as the universal mind, the infinite intelligence that flows through all things. The secretive texts of the Templar order suggest that their initiates practiced techniques to connect with this eternal aspect, allowing them to receive knowledge beyond the limitations of personal experience, accessing realities where time had already fulfilled its purpose. The Cathars, who were condemned and exterminated for their forbidden wisdom, believed that death was not an end but merely a shift in perception. To them, those who attained true gnosis, the deep, unshakable understanding of existence, could recall all their incarnations, knowing that the soul was never confined to one singular journey. The Sufi mystics spoke of reaching such elevated states of vibration that the soul could communicate with its future self, receiving guidance from the aspect of its being that had already awakened. Rumi, the great Persian poet, wrote, "You are not merely this moment. You are the sum of all you have ever been and all you will ever become. Listen to the one within you who has already awakened." Modern science is only beginning to glimpse what the ancients already knew. Quantum physics suggests that reality is not singular, but a web of infinite possibilities, all existing simultaneously. The theory of parallel universes proposes that each decision, each shift in awareness, creates a branching path into a new timeline. The medieval alchemists spoke of the mastery of time, not as a rigid construct, but as something that could be navigated through sheer will. Those who reached the pinnacle of initiation were said to be able to step between moments, choosing the highest path of evolution for their consciousness. The Rosicrucians preserved this teaching, describing the shift of perception as the key to changing destiny. They wrote that by altering the internal structure of consciousness, one could align one's life with the highest version of oneself. The Corpus Hermeticum states, Reality is not fixed. There are infinite realities, waiting to be chosen by those who know their power. The Essenes, whose hidden manuscripts contained knowledge feared by the religious authorities of their time, held that time was a spiral, and that the soul's memory could be retrieved by expanding awareness beyond the illusion of the present. The great secret of manifestation lies in understanding that the mind does not merely observe reality, it interacts with it, shaping events according to the frequency it maintains. The Kybalion teaches, "He who understands the law of rhythm will rise above the oscillations of fate, moving through life as a master of destiny." The Essenes, in their suppressed teachings, believe that by stilling the mind and expanding perception, the soul could remember its true nature, beyond time, beyond limitation. The Templars, in their encrypted manuscripts, wrote that every human being has access to the wisdom of their eternal self. By silencing the thinking mind and entering a state of deep receptivity, one can receive knowledge from other dimensions of one's own being. The Rosicrucians taught that each person can receive direct revelations from their higher consciousness if they learn to listen, through intuition, through symbols placed along their path, through the quiet whispers of the universe. The Tao Te Ching states, "The wise one does not ask time for answers. He asks his being, for what he seeks is already within him." The Gnostics understood that meditation and prayer were not acts of devotion to an external force, but tools for communicating with the eternal self beyond the veil of illusion. The Sufis practiced silent contemplation, knowing that only in the emptiness of the mind can one hear the voice of the soul. The Zohar, the mystical foundation of Kabbalah, speaks of the secret name of the soul, a resonance that aligns with the heart of the universe. The Vedic texts describe Akasha, the cosmic record where all possibilities already exist, accessible to those who have elevated their perception beyond the constraints of the ego. To understand that reality is multidimensional is to break free from the illusion of linear time. Destiny is not a single road, but an ocean of possibilities, waiting to be navigated by those who awaken. The great sages of history have taught that the mind is the key to shifting between realms, that conscious alignment with higher frequencies opens portals to more elevated realities. He who awakens to the consciousness of his eternal self will no longer be bound by the illusions of time. He will no longer be a passive traveler along a predestined path, but a conscious architect of his own existence. The next chapter will explore the mystery of quantum manifestation, how to use the connection with the eternal self to bring forth the desired reality with precision and speed. There is no past, there is no future, only the eternal now. He who understands this will be free. Chapter 10. Quantum Manifestation and the Engineering of Reality. The universe is not composed of matter, but of thought in motion. What the mind holds with certainty, reality reflects without hesitation. This truth, concealed within the teachings of the Hermetic texts and echoed through the wisdom of ancient mystics, has now found validation in the revelations of quantum physics. Reality is not fixed, not an immovable structure dictated by chance. It is a living, fluid projection of consciousness, shaped and molded by the vibrational state of the observer. The art of quantum manifestation is not magic, nor is it mere wishful thinking. It is the precise application of universal laws, the ability to align one's frequency with the reality they wish to experience. The Rosicrucians, the alchemists, and the Gnostics all understood that the mind does not passively observe reality, it actively molds it. The only limits to creation are those imposed by conditioned perception, by the belief in restriction, and by the illusion of time. The Kybalion declares with clarity, "The all is mind. He who masters the mind masters his destiny." According to modern physics, matter is actually energy vibrating at various frequencies rather than solid substance, and human awareness has the ability to interact with this field and change its structure. According to the Gnostics, manifestation is the process of tuning into a reality that already exists on a separate plane of possibilities, rather than the act of producing something out of nothing. The following is recorded in the Gospel of Thomas. The kingdom is already here, but men do not see it because their eyes remain closed. The Sufis described manifestation as the art of allowing divine will to flow without obstruction through the self. Al-Hallaj, a martyr of Sufi mysticism, proclaimed before his execution, "Truth resides in he who holds it with purity. There is no separation between the one who desires and the desired except for doubt." The Templars concealed this knowledge in encrypted manuscripts, stating that the control of reality lies in the ability to align intention with vibration. What the ancients always knew has been validated by quantum physics. Perception shapes reality. It does not exist apart from the observer. The well-known double-slit experiment showed that depending on whether an observer is present, particles can behave as solid matter or as waves. This insight demonstrates a fundamental law. Reality is shaped by consciousness. In creating his theory of synchronicity, Carl Jung claimed that occurrences are reflections of the inner condition of the mind rather than random occurrences. The Rosicrucians claimed that the cosmos acts as a mirror, reflecting back exactly the frequency maintained within consciousness, and they discussed how reality may be engineered via the mastery of thought and emotion. According to the Kabbalists, the material universe is just the culmination of an underlying vibratory cause. They clarified in their teachings on Keter that every manifestation starts in the invisible realm before solidifying in the material world. This was also recognized by the Taoists, who taught that the wise person aligns with the current and uses purpose to guide it rather than fighting against it. According to the Sufi teachings, manifestation is an act of submission to the universe's flow, allowing energy to manifest without being impeded by doubt or mental opposition. Your own frequency determines the response you receive, not the outcome of the cosmos. The key to manifestation is not desire, it is certainty. The alchemists taught that the secret of creation does not lie in asking, but in knowing that what is desired already exists in another plane of reality. Paracelsus wrote, "The secret is not in asking, but in knowing that it has already been given." The Hermetic texts explain that faith is not blind belief. It is a frequency of alignment with the desired reality. The Bhagavad Gita echoes this. He whose mind does not waver has already received what he seeks. The Templars understood that manifestation accelerates only when desire ceases to be a plea and becomes an unshakable conviction. The Cathars, in their forbidden writings, affirmed that the universe does not respond to need. It responds to the vibration of absolute certainty. The teachings of the Knights of the Temple reveal that conscious creation requires no effort, only alignment. The Gospel of Judas states, "Those who know do not ask. They simply walk in the light of their own truth." One of the greatest mistakes in manifestation is attempting to force reality through mental effort. The ancient masters understood that excessive striving creates resistance, blocking the natural flow of creation. The Rosicrucians taught that the universe responds best to fluidity, not rigid control. The Sufis spoke of the dance of creation, where the one who surrenders to the rhythm of the universe receives effortlessly what others chase without success. Rumi wrote, "Do not pursue, allow. Do not seek, receive. What belongs to you will come if you open yourself to it." The Templars spoke of the art of active waiting, where intention is set, but anxiety about the outcome dissolves into trust. The Taoist sages wrote, "He who chases life loses it. He who flows with life finds it." The Gnostic texts describe manifestation as an act of harmony with the cosmos, where the individual allows energy to flow without obstruction from fear or impatience. Quantum manifestation is the art of aligning with the frequency of the desired reality, holding the absolute certainty of its existence before it becomes visible. The great sages understood that reality is a reflection of the vibration sustained within, and that the universe does not respond to pleading, it responds to certainty. The Templars, the Rosicrucians, the alchemists, and the Sufis left behind traces of this knowledge in their hidden writings. The Gnostics sought to preserve these teachings before they were hunted down and erased by the powers that sought to suppress the truth. The next chapter will explore how dreams, visions, and altered states of consciousness can be used to access parallel realities and accelerate manifestation. He who masters his mind shapes his world. Chapter 11. Dreams, Visions, and Altered States of Consciousness in Manifestation. The Templars, Rosicrucians, and alchemists all preserved these techniques, using them not only to receive revelations, but also to actively intervene in the structure of their own existence. The initiates of the mystery schools have long understood that human consciousness is not limited to ordinary perception, and that through dreams, visions, and altered states of consciousness, one can access realms where reality has not yet solidified, where the future can be shaped before it manifests in the physical world. He who understands his dreams understands his destiny, for what transpires in waking life is merely an echo of what has already been sown in the depths of the soul. The Sufis spoke of inner vision, a state in which the soul could travel beyond time and space to receive direct knowledge. Rumi wrote, "When you close your eyes, you see the real world. What you perceive in waking life is only a reflection of what you have already seen in the depths of your being." The Kabbalists believed that dreams were encrypted messages from the higher self, fragments of alternative realities that could be consciously explored by those who learned to decipher their symbols. The Gnostics, persecuted for their hidden wisdom, affirmed that dreaming was a gateway to truth, for when the mind is freed from the body's limitations, it remembers forgotten knowledge and receives instruction from higher dimensions. In the Gospel of Thomas, it is written, "When man sleeps, his spirit sees, but when he awakens, he forgets what he has seen." Dreams are not mere illusions of the subconscious. They are portals to dimensions where reality remains fluid, where the laws of matter do not yet bind possibility. The Rosicrucians taught that those who entered a state of lucid dreaming could interact with their creative energy and modify future events before they crystallized in waking life. The Templars practiced directed dreaming, programming their minds before sleep to receive answers and guidance. The Cathars believed that dreams reflected the vibrational state of the soul, and that by controlling dream content, one could influence the material world itself. The Sufis spoke of true dreams, experiences where the spirit could ascend to higher planes and return with knowledge capable of transforming existence. The alchemists held that dreams were the secret language of the deep psyche, a hidden script through which destiny could be deciphered. Paracelsus wrote, "The wise man consults his fate in dreams, for there lies the truth, undistorted by the waking world." The Kabbalists explained that visualizing a reality in a dream and feeling it as real established a vibrational link, drawing that reality into physical existence. Altered states of consciousness have been used throughout history to access hidden knowledge and accelerate manifestation. Shamans of ancient traditions entered trance states to receive visions of potential futures and rewrite destiny. The Christian mystics, like Meister Eckhart, spoke of ecstatic contemplation, a state in which the soul transcends the rational mind and connects directly to the source of creation. The Sufis, through sacred dance and rhythmic chanting, dissolved the perception of time, feeling reality in its purest form, free from the distortions of ordinary thought. The Rosicrucians practiced deep meditation to view their lives from a higher perspective, accessing the records of the soul, where past, present, and future already coexisted. The Tao Te Ching states, "When the sage silences his mind, he sees beyond time, for truth is not found in thought, but in being." The alchemists spoke of luminous essence, an invisible substance perceived in deep introspection that contained the knowledge of the universe. The hidden manuscripts of the Templars suggest that their initiates developed techniques to induce visionary states in which the eye of the soul could transform reality through mere thought. The connection with other dimensions is not fiction, but a fundamental aspect of human consciousness. The Gnostics taught that in deep meditation, one could contact beings of higher wisdom, entities that existed in realms of greater vibration, willing to transmit knowledge to those ready to receive it. The Sufis spoke of invisible companions, guides who could only be perceived in moments of profound contemplation. The Kabbalists taught that true communion with the divine does not occur in wakefulness, but in moments of detachment from the rational mind. The Templars recorded in their hidden documents that in certain states of trance it was possible to retrieve information from other times and places, accessing the wisdom of past and future lives. The alchemists spoke of the prima materia of spirit, the invisible force through which events could be shaped, perceivable only when the ordinary mind was silenced completely. Dreams, visions, and altered states of consciousness are not mere illusions. They are gateways to a deeper reality that ordinary perception cannot grasp. The ancient sages understood that consciousness is not confined to the body nor to time, and that those who learn to navigate these states can access a higher level of creation and manifestation. He who masters expanded perception will shape his destiny with greater precision and speed. The Templars, the Rosicrucians, the Sufis, the alchemists, and the Gnostics left traces of this knowledge in their forbidden texts, knowing that the day would come when humanity would awaken to its true power. The next chapter will explore the concept of the holographic reality, how the material world is nothing more than a projection of consciousness within the quantum field. He who awakens within his dreams will awaken in reality. Chapter 12. The Holographic Reality and the Illusion of Matter. Do not be deceived by what your eyes perceive. Matter is not real in itself. It is a projection of the mind upon the ether. From the dawn of humanity, initiates have understood that the physical world is nothing more than an illusion, a fleeting image cast by a deeper, immutable reality. This sacred knowledge, preserved in the hidden texts of countless traditions, is now being confirmed by the most advanced discoveries in quantum physics. The Vedantic sages called this illusion Maya, the veil that conceals the true nature of existence. The Gnostics proclaimed that the material world was but a shadow of a higher reality, a prison designed to keep humanity ensnared in ignorance. The Gospel of Philip warns, "This world is a reflection. He who takes it as real will remain trapped within it, but he who sees it as a projection will find the truth." The Templars, in their secret writings, declared that matter is simply the densest form of consciousness, and that initiates could learn to manipulate its structure by understanding its illusory nature. The Rosicrucians discussed the hidden light within everything, the holy spark that permeates everything but is only apparent to the sight. The Sufis believe that conquering the projector itself is the path to true freedom rather than reacting to the visuals. They likened the external environment to a film that is shown onto the mental screen. Rumi's writing, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. Your inner self is just reflected in the outside world." Modern science is beginning to validate what the ancients knew long ago. Reality is not solid, nor is it fixed. It is a vibrational structure that responds to observation. Studies in quantum physics have revealed that subatomic particles do not have a definite position until they are observed, suggesting that matter is malleable and depends on consciousness for its very existence. Physicist David Bohm proposed the theory of the holographic universe, affirming that our three-dimensional reality is merely a projection from a higher dimensional source. This concept mirrors the wisdom of the Hermetic texts, which state, "As above, so below. As within, so without. All is a reflection of one." The Kabbalists described Ein Sof, the infinite and formless reality, as the origin of all creation, which unfolds through different vibrational layers. The alchemists, too, understood that matter is nothing but crystallized light, a condensation of the primordial energy that shapes existence. Paracelsus declared, "Nothing is solid, all is vibration and movement. He who understands this will alter the structure of his destiny." The Gnostics, persecuted for their dangerous knowledge, taught that the body is merely a shadow, a temporary vessel for consciousness to experience existence. Pistis Sophia states, "The spirit is eternal, but the flesh is fleeting. He who identifies with the body will be bound by its limitations, but he who recognizes his true essence shall be free." The Templars held that the secret to manifestation was not to alter matter from within matter, but to comprehend its vibrational origin and transform it from the level of the mind. The Rosicrucians taught that matter and energy were interchangeable, and that the initiated could mold reality through the precise vibration of thought and emotion. If reality is a hologram, then it is not fixed. It can be modified, reconfigured, and adjusted through consciousness. The Sufis spoke of maqam, the vibrational state of being that determines the quality of the reality one experiences. The Tao Te Ching echoes this truth. Reality is not a river that flows uncontrollably. It is a vast, calm sea that responds to the intention of the wise. The Templars believed that matter was a manifestation of divine will, and that those who learned to synchronize with that will could alter their experience of existence. The Gnostics, however, warned that the archons, false rulers of the material realm, had programmed human minds with limiting beliefs, trapping them within an illusion of restriction. They taught that the only way to break free from this control was to awaken to the truth of the holographic nature of reality. The Kabbalists understood that language and the spoken word were tools for reshaping the hologram. For every sound emitted a vibration capable of reconfiguring the structure of reality. The alchemists insisted that the transmutation of matter was not merely physical, it was a transformation of perception. The Corpus Hermeticum states, "He who sees beyond the veil controls his destiny, for reality is only a reflection of the observer." The writings of the Order of the Temple reveal that their initiates practiced techniques to expand perception, allowing them to glimpse the true nature of the world beyond appearances. The Rosicrucians taught that the holographic reality is a structure of light, and that the key to reshaping it lies in mastering the frequency of one's own consciousness. He who understands that reality is a holographic projection ceases to feel trapped by external circumstances. He discovers that the world he experiences is only a reflection of his own vibration, and that he holds the power to modify it from within. The Templars, the Rosicrucians, the Gnostics, the alchemists, and the Kabbalists all left traces of this knowledge in their hidden texts, knowing that the time would come when humanity would awaken to its true nature. He who masters perception will master manifestation. The next chapter will explore the immortality of consciousness, how human existence is not confined to the physical body, but extends beyond the limits of time and space. He who sees the world as a dream shall awaken in truth. Chapter 13. The Immortality of Consciousness and Existence Beyond the Body. You are not the body, you are not the mind. You are the eternal spark, the consciousness that cannot be destroyed, only transformed. From the earliest civilizations to the most advanced mystical traditions, the wise have declared that death is not the end, but a transition, a shift in the state of awareness. To some, immortality is the survival of the soul beyond the body. To others, it is the realization that time and matter are illusions, and that liberation comes from transcending the cycle of birth and death altogether. The Templars guarded this knowledge in their initiation rituals. The Rosicrucians taught that consciousness is not confined to the body. It can expand beyond time and space. The Sufis spoke of the dissolution of the false self as the true path to immortality. The Gospel of Thomas, one of the most revealing Gnostic texts, proclaims, "When man comes to know himself, he will realize that he was never born and will never die." The Vedic masters taught that Atman, the essence of the self, is unchanging and indestructible. The Bhagavad Gita states, "Just as a man discards worn-out garments for new ones, so too does the soul abandon the body to take another." The Kabbalists spoke of Ruach, the divine spark that descends into the physical realm, yet remains eternally connected to its source. The ancient Egyptians believed that true existence was not found in the physical body, but in the Ka, the spiritual double that continued its journey in other planes after death. The Book of the Dead affirms, "The body is dust, but the spirit is immortal. What the eye sees fades, but what the soul knows endures forever." Modern science has begun to unravel what the ancients knew. Consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain, but an independent entity that uses the brain as a channel. Dr. Stuart Hameroff and physicist Roger Penrose proposed that consciousness is a quantum phenomenon existing beyond space and time. Their research suggests that after death, the information contained in consciousness is not lost but reintegrated into the universal quantum field. Experiments with near-death experiences have revealed that people who were clinically dead reported heightened awareness, suggesting that consciousness does not depend on the physical body to exist. The Rosicrucians taught that death is nothing more than a shift in vibration, a passage into another level of being. The Tao Te Ching states, "The sage does not fear death, for he knows he has never lived in the way the world believes." The Sufis describe death as the awakening from a dream, asserting that true reality begins when one transcends the illusion of matter. Rumi wrote, "When you die before you die, you will know eternity. What you fear losing was never yours." The Templars believed that death was nothing more than a return to the origin, a transition to other realms where consciousness continues to evolve. The Gnostics maintained that the true prison was not the body, but the identification with the illusion of the self, and that freeing the mind allowed one to transcend the limitations of time and space. Pistis Sophia states, "He who recognizes himself as light will return to the light. He who clings to the shadow will remain in the shadow." The Kabbalists spoke of Gilgul, the cycle of reincarnations through which consciousness expands until reaching perfection. The alchemists saw immortality not as an unending life in the physical body, but as the ability to merge with the whole, transcending the duality of existence. Paracelsus declared, "Death is an illusion for those who understand the nature of the spirit. The spirit does not die, it only transforms." The Rosicrucians described ascension as a vibrational shift, in which the initiate elevates his consciousness to a state where death becomes irrelevant, realizing that his true identity was never in the body, but in the eternal essence. The Sufis believed that immortality was achieved through the expansion of consciousness, the dissolution of the ego, and the merging with the totality of being. The ancient texts have always proclaimed that as consciousness expands, it remembers its origin and breaks free from the cycle of birth and death. The Gnostics spoke of pleroma, the state of pure awareness to which the soul returns after completing its lessons in the material world. The Zohar, the central text of Kabbalah, states, "The spirit of man is a spark of infinite light. When it awakens, it returns to its source." The Templars held that death was merely a portal, and that those who understood this could consciously choose their next incarnation or merge with the all. The Rosicrucians described existence as a cycle of expansion and contraction of consciousness, in which each lifetime was an opportunity to remember the hidden truth of eternal being. The alchemists spoke of the death of the ego, the process in which the limited identity dissolves, allowing the true self to experience its infinite nature. The Corpus Hermeticum states, "Man is not mortal but perceives himself to be so. He who frees himself from this illusion shall be free forever." The Sufis embraced Fana, the annihilation of the false self, and the merging with the divine, a state where the individual ceases to perceive himself as separate and experiences the eternity of the soul. Rumi wrote, "Do not seek eternity in the body, for the body is like dust. Seek eternity in the spirit, for the spirit has never faded. He who understands that consciousness is not dependent on the body shall be freed from the fear of death and will live with the certainty of his immortality." The Templars, the Rosicrucians, the alchemists, the Sufis, the Kabbalists, and the Gnostics all left traces of this knowledge in their forbidden writings, knowing that the awakening of humanity would begin when the veil of material illusion was lifted. The next chapter will explore how to use this knowledge to expand perception and access the highest levels of creative consciousness. You are not a body with a soul. You are an infinite soul experiencing a body for a brief moment. The human mind is the key to all worlds. He who expands his consciousness will open the doors of infinity. Since ancient times, the initiates of the mystery schools have taught that human awareness is not confined to ordinary perception. It can expand beyond the rational mind, reaching states of understanding that transcend the limitations of intellect and time. The true evolution of humanity does not lie in the accumulation of knowledge, but in the ability to perceive reality from a higher level of awareness. The Vedantic sages spoke of samadhi, the state in which consciousness merges with the totality of existence. The Sufis called it fana, the dissolution of the ego into the divine. The Kabbalists described Da'at as the hidden wisdom that transcends intellectual reasoning. The Gospel of Thomas proclaims, "He who awakens will see reality as it is. No longer will he be blind among the blind, but a child of the light." The Templars, in their initiation rituals, practiced techniques to alter perception and connect with the hidden flow of reality. The Rosicrucians declared that the highest knowledge cannot be taught, only experienced by those who have expanded their perception beyond time and matter. Chapter 14. The Awakening of Consciousness and Quantum Reality. What the ancient sages already knew, that consciousness is a force that interacts with the quantum field to shape reality itself rather than an isolated phenomenon within the brain, is starting to be confirmed by modern physics. Quantum mechanical experiments have shown that the act of merely observing has an impact on the behavior of subatomic particles, indicating that the human mind actively shapes the universe rather than only perceiving it. Carl Jung described the collective unconscious as a large knowledge field that unites all people. The Rosicrucians believed that by raising one's awareness, one could reach a plane of reality where manifestation happened instantly and time stopped being linear. According to the Tao Te Ching, man sees the truth when he transcends his mind. In actuality, everything is within of him. According to the Gnostics, releasing the mind from the constraints of everyday perception is the first step toward enlarging consciousness. Man's mind is both his prison and his key, declares Pistis Sophia. All doors will open for the person who uses it wisely. The Templars talked of inner illumination, or realizing that reality is a projection of one's own mind rather than an outside actuality. Alchemists believed that transmutation included both the alteration of metals and the alteration of the mind. The transformation of thought is true alchemy, according to Paracelsus. Whoever controls his thoughts controls his fate. Studies on consciousness have revealed that different states of perception can be accessed through meditation, visualization, and focused intention. The Vedic masters described 4 states: waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and Turiya, the state of pure awareness in which one experiences unity with the all. The Sufis taught that in moments of ecstatic consciousness, the mind ceases to interfere, and reality responds instantly to intention. The Kabbalists described the human mind as a bridge between worlds, stating that the secret to manifestation lies in aligning with the universal forces. The Templars practiced extreme concentration techniques to train their minds, allowing them to project their will into the physical world. The Corpus Hermeticum declares, "The mind of man is the seed of the universe. He who sows with wisdom will harvest effortlessly." The Rosicrucians understood that reality behaves like a reflection of consciousness. When the internal structure of thought is modified, the external world changes accordingly. The Gnostics spoke of gnosis, an inner knowing that cannot be gained through study, but only through direct experience of truth. The Templars believed that by training the mind to perceive reality from a higher perspective, they could access knowledge hidden from ordinary perception. The Rosicrucians taught that true wisdom is not found in books, but in direct connection with the universal intelligence that resides within each being. The Zohar, the central text of Kabbalah, states, "The mind is the eye of the spirit. What it sees becomes its reality." The alchemists emphasized deep contemplation, the act of focusing the mind so intensely that the perception of time and space dissolves. Paracelsus wrote, "The mind is the great laboratory of the universe. He who uses it correctly will turn lead into gold." The Sufis practiced dhikr, the repetition of sacred words to align the mind with divine flow and accelerate the manifestation of desired reality. The Templars believed that by reaching a state of heightened awareness, one could see the future and alter it before it manifested in the physical plane. The Tao Te Ching proclaims, "The sage does not struggle against reality. He molds it with his mind, as the wind shapes the sand." The Gnostics believed that when the mind is purified of societal conditioning, it becomes a channel for conscious creation. Pistis Sophia states, A pure mind is like a mirror. It reflects light without distortion, and all that is projected within it shall be true. Expanding consciousness is not an intellectual process. It is an awakening to the true nature of being. The Templars, the Rosicrucians, the Gnostics, the Alchemists, and the Kabbalists all left traces of this knowledge, knowing that the awakening of humanity will occur when each individual remembers their innate power. He who masters his mind will master his world. The next chapter will explore the art of transmuting reality through the power of pure intention and the connection to the universal source. He who remembers his essence will remember his power, and he who remembers his power will be free. Chapter 15. The Transmutation of Reality and the Power of Pure Intention. The universe is a thought sustained in the mind of the all. He who masters his intention can mold reality at will. Since the most ancient times, initiates of esoteric traditions have understood that reality is not fixed, but fluid, a field of infinite possibilities that responds to the energy of focused intention. In the mystery schools of Egypt, within the temples of the Vedic sages, in the hidden teachings of the Templars and Rosicrucians, the same truth has been preserved. Intention is the force that moves the universe. The alchemists called this process transmutation, but its meaning extended far beyond turning lead into gold. It represented the transformation of perception, of thought, and of reality itself. Paracelsus wrote, "He who understands the nature of his thought can turn the lead of his destiny into the gold of wisdom." The Gnostics taught that the material world is merely a projection of the mind, and that true change does not come from external action, but from internal reprogramming. The Gospel of Philip declares, "He who recognizes his inner power has no need to change the world, for the world already belongs to him." The Sufis spoke of pure intention, a state in which the mind and spirit are perfectly aligned in a vibration of absolute certainty, allowing reality to reorganize itself effortlessly. Rumi wrote, "When desire is pure, the universe has no choice but to grant it." The ancient texts are clear. Reality does not respond to weak desires or hesitant hopes, but to intention sustained with unwavering conviction. The Kabbalists taught that the vibration of intention determines the speed at which a manifestation materializes. In Kabbalah, Keter, the crown, is the plane where pure intention is emitted before descending into form. The Zohar states, "Light follows thought, that which the heart holds with certainty, the universe confirms." The Templars believed intention was the most powerful creative force, and in their manifestation rituals, they trained to focus all their energy on a single objective until reality responded. The Rosicrucians declared that an intention aligned with divine will knows no obstacles. The Corpus Hermeticum proclaims, "There is nothing that cannot be changed by the power of a focused mind. Reality is but the reflection of the energy sustained in thought." The medieval alchemists insisted that external transmutation could only occur after an inner transmutation. Paracelsus wrote, "There is no illness in the body that does not have its root in the mind. There is no poverty in the world that does not have its origin in belief." The Sufis taught that intention must be free of doubt, for doubt disrupts the flow of creation. The Gnostics emphasized that one must free the mind from all external influences for intention to operate without interference. Pistis Sophia warns, "He who allows the world to control his thoughts will be a slave to his destiny, but he who masters his mind will be lord of his existence." The Rosicrucians taught that to transmute reality, one must first transmute perception. The Kabbalists affirmed that the universe responds to the energy of certainty, and that when an intention is held with absolute conviction, it becomes a cosmic decree. The alchemists knew that all that exists in the physical world is merely a densified version of vibration, and that by altering the vibration of one's intention, reality itself shifts. The Templars believed that absolute faith in one's intention was the key to instantaneous manifestation, eliminating resistance and doubt. All esoteric traditions agree. The only real barrier between desire and its manifestation is mental resistance. The Sufis taught that the lower ego is the only force that stands between an individual and their creative power. The Tao Te Ching states, "He who flows with life receives without effort. He who fights against it loses his power." The Gnostics explained that the mind is programmed for doubt and fear from childhood, and that transmutation involves dismantling these limiting beliefs. The Gospel of Judas reveals, "Those who know the truth do not ask, for they know they have already received." The Kabbalists instructed that intention must be projected with the certainty that it has already been granted, for any doubt introduces a contradictory vibration that delays manifestation. The alchemists emphasized that the mind must be trained to hold a single vibration without fluctuation, as the universe responds with mathematical precision to the signal it receives. The Rosicrucians taught that a disciplined mind is the most powerful weapon for transforming reality. Transmutation is not an act of blind faith. It is the precise application of pure intention. The Templars, the Rosicrucians, the Gnostics, the Kabbalists, and the alchemists left traces of this knowledge, knowing that the awakening of humanity would occur when each individual reclaimed their innate power. He who masters his intention will master his destiny. This book has unveiled the hidden principles that have been passed down for centuries, serving as a guide for those who seek not only to understand the nature of reality, but to master and transform it at will. Yet, knowledge alone is not enough. True alchemy occurs when knowledge is applied with absolute certainty. Do not search outside for what has always been within you. You are the creator of your world. He who remembers this will never again live as a slave to reality, but as its master. The knowledge that has been suppressed for centuries can no longer remain in the shadows. Humanity stands at a turning point where truth is rising, and each individual has the opportunity to reclaim their sovereignty over reality. Epilogue, The Awakening of the Creator. This book has not merely been a collection of ideas, but an invitation to transformation. The question has never been whether reality can be changed. The question is whether you are ready to accept that you alone are responsible for the world you experience. For centuries, the greatest wisdom has been hidden in plain sight, buried beneath dogma, fear, and illusion. Yet those who awaken to their true nature will no longer live at the mercy of external forces. They will step into their rightful place as conscious creators of their own existence. The journey does not end here. This knowledge is not meant to be read and forgotten, but to be lived, tested, and embodied. Truth is not something to be believed. It is something to be realized. And once realized, it cannot be undone. He who remembers his power will remember who he truly is, and he who remembers who he is will know no limits. Hermes Trismegistus,